Hi, today just want to go over a commonly asked question. This one today we're going to talk about is sit-ups and neck pain. So it's most relevant to beginners, they experience it more commonly, but it can happen to anyone at any stage. So we're just going to talk about why it happens and then a little strategy to overcome it or manage it as we progress. So the reason it happens is basically that the pain comes from fatigue in the neck muscles. So as we are standing, our neck muscles, or sitting, our neck muscles are only having to work minimally because our head is on top of your shoulders and therefore the forces required are quite minimal. As we go into a lying down position and then try and sit up, the weight of the head creates quite a lot of stress or force needed on the neck muscles to hold it or lift it up. So if you're doing, say, 10 or 20 reps of a sit-up, then you're eventually going to fatigue those muscles. Now, if you're only just starting out with your kind of fitness campaign, the muscles are not going to be conditioned enough to deal with that situation. And it's kind of overlooked because we expect our abdominals or, this area to hurt when we're doing our sit-ups, which probably will as well, but often it's overshadowed by the pain that we feel in our neck. Now, rest assured, this is quite common. Actually, it's very common, and pretty much everybody would experience this to some degree. So, even though it doesn't feel quite right, there's nothing that you're doing wrong or incorrect. It's just about managing that situation to try and make it more comfortable until such a situation as the neck muscles develop and get stronger, which will happen quite quickly, and they can cope with that action a lot better. So let's go into a 3-4 stage strategy that we can go to minimize that or manage it to the best that we can. All right, let's go down on the mat. So number one is we're going to focus on the area that we're trying to work. Now, if I lie down, I'm going to put one finger on my lower rib cage, right on the bottom, at the sternum, and the other one on top of my pelvis. Now, when I contract my abs, I'm bringing those 2 points together. And that's what we're trying to focus on when we do a sit-up. So each time I come up, I'm bringing my rib cage closer to the top of my pelvis. And that's exactly what the ab muscles are doing. They're connected to those 2 points. A contraction means a shortening of the muscle, and that shortening is going to bring those 2 points together. So when you do your sit-up, it's not about bringing your head to your chest and trying to pull your head up this way. We can completely eliminate the movement of your neck and your head because that really isn't what we're trying to focus on. We're trying to focus on this area here. So you can keep your head in line with your shoulders and just focus on bringing your shoulders up off the ground. More importantly, really try and think about bringing your rib cage to your pelvis, because the instant you do that, you're going to bring your shoulders up off the ground. So think about your focus in your head should be on that rather than bringing your chin to your chest and trying to come up this way. That if you're bringing your chin down to your chest, then you're going to be contracting these neck muscles and it's going to be firing up even harder than what they necessarily have to do. So that's number one. Point number two, is we're going to use the hands as a little cradle for the head. So I don't want you to pull on your head, but just by taking, say, 50% of the weight of the head, which you can quite easily do just by placing your head in your hands and then doing the sit-up, you can quite easily relieve a lot of the stress from the front of the neck. So it's quite a comfortable position. Let's say you don't have to pull, it's just a question of cradling your head. And the last point we're going to do is to not overstrain. So don't feel like you've got to sit up a lot, especially don't feel like you've got to sit up sort of right up here. That's far too much. Obviously there are sit-ups where we do sit up all the way, but we're just here talking about a basic kind of sit-up or crunch movement. So just come up to what feels like your natural end point. So, mine is here, and I'll just come back down again. I'm not going to try and force it past that position. Now, if you're just beginning, that might feel like quite a small movement, but don't worry about it. Over time, that will probably increase a little bit, and it might be that that's all the movement that's required anyway, and it just feels like a small movement to you because maybe you've been doing a full sit-up before, or it feels smaller than what it actually in reality is. So don't worry about it. Just come up to what feels like your end point and then back down again, and don't try and force it any further. And the last part I'm going to tag on to the end of that is that don't be afraid to take a little rest, a little mini 5-second breather where you can just put your head on the floor. So let's say I'm going to do a set of 15, I get to like 10 or 11 and the front of my neck is like burning and screaming, then I'll just put my head on the ground and just let the tension relieve from the front of the neck just for 5 seconds, and then I'll carry on again and I'll do the rest of my set. So by breaking that tension, it just allows the muscles to have a little bit of a relaxation and the pain will go. So there we go, little 3-stage strategy to make sure that you're going to be able to manage that condition. Generally speaking, it doesn't last too long. You know, if you started your routines and you're getting the neck pain, within possibly a couple of weeks, all of that should be gone and the neck muscles will be a lot more capable of coping with the situation. So I hope that helps. Hope it helps your progress, and I'll catch up soon.